Hey guys, welcome back. I believe this is episode 7, something like that. Anyway, glad to be here. Glad you're here. Oop, I froze there for a sec. Anyway, glad to be here. Hope you're having a good day. Whatever it is that you're doing for your holiday break. I hope that you're getting to relax, getting to find time to do something that you just enjoy doing. Pretty cool. Anyway, recording this on Thursday, the 22nd? Yeah, 22nd. So anyway, let me go ahead and start my timer. There we go. Good to be here. I'm going to say the big thing going on for me right now, I finished cleaning. Everything's good to go for the holidays. My father-in-law comes in tomorrow, which is cool. He'll be here bright and early. And right now I'm just kind of chilling. Today, my final grades for the master class that I'm doing are supposed to come out, be finalized, or however you want to phrase it. So I'm waiting anxiously for that. Not that I'm too worried about it. I had like 30 some points to play with. Like the grading scale, to get an A, you have to get 450 out of 500 points. And going into the final week, I had like 30 some points to play with. So I feel pretty good about it. Just kind of waiting. They're supposed to come out today. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, I am a teacher. And so now I am finished. Well, this is my 4th year teaching total. And I started doing my master program. And it's pretty interesting. So like I'm getting a master degree in education administration. So it's your prerequisite for becoming a principal. Like that's I believe the highest position that becomes available to me once I complete it. Granted, there's a whole lot of positions between being a teacher and becoming a principal. You have your APs, you have your... Come on, stop being difficult. I'm trying to tell a story. But yeah, you have your APs, you have your curriculum, sorry, the word will come to me. But sleepy boy, you are now mine. Like the advisor for the departments. Basically, like we have a lady who she gives us advice as far as how to handle certain topics and to activities, and like not so much what we teach, but like how you could teach it to make it interesting and stuff. There's that, and then of course I'm not a department head or anything like that, so there's plenty of room for me to kind of grow still. But I qualified as far as like at your 3rd year you can start working on a master program. It's free for me because of my hearing. Being a student with disabilities coming in clutch finally. But yeah, so it's just kind of one of those, like, once I qualified for it, it's like, why not, you know? And, but I'll be honest, just in general, it's always good to understand how the people above you operate. I mean, like, that was a trick that we were taught in the military. You should always have a good enough understanding of the position above you um, to be able to do the job, if crap hits the fan, um, and also to understand the roles and responsibilities of the people below you, so that you stay in touch with their struggles, right? And I think that that's a good policy for any type of work, but especially when you get into some sort of like professional career or what have you. It's good to know how other people operate. Because what I feel like happens a lot of the time, um, using me being a teacher as an example, but you can probably relate it to whatever um, career you start to get into. Um, like I get frustrated with stuff. Like stuff happens, and it's like this thing. Like if everybody would just do their job, then life would be a whole lot stressful for all of us, right? Um, and so it's been really eye opening going through the master program because like I'm learning a lot. Um, like why administrators make some of the decisions that they make, all the extra um, hoops they have to jump through for whatever. There's a lot of legal stuff that goes into being an administrator at any level. Um, and so I'll be honest, I'm not entirely certain if I if I even want to become a principal at this point or really anything. Um, it's kind of crazy, um, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I have straight A's in the program right now. I'm trying to keep that. That's why I don't want to say anxious about it. I don't really get anxious, but I do want the A. And I wonder if there's anything cool up here. I'm looking for people to trade with. Your girlfriend, oh. But yeah, switch to. Oh wait, you know what? You know who would be probably really good at catching Pokemon? Huh? See if we can slip in here without actually having to fight anybody. Um, but yeah, so like I've been having to work closely with one of my APs, assistant principal. For those of you wondering what an AP is, um, and to see like even she's not a principal, but seeing all the stuff that she has to do, and the way some parents just talk like, well, I mean, granted, I get it, like it's your kid, right? You want the best thing for your kid, and um, when they get in trouble, you want to defend them and stuff like that. And it's just the way people think they can talk to each other sometimes is just astounding to me. Um, and I don't think I have the patience for that, right? 'Cause like for me, and it's one of those things. I think I'm really blessed to be in the position that I'm in, because I don't think I would have survived much longer working in like before I became a teacher. I was in retail. Like I worked for Walgreens. I was technically I was a pharmaceutical technician or an assistant to the pharmacy, and so I'd fill people's prescriptions and stuff like that. Um, Pretty easy gig. You just have to really, really pay attention to what you're doing. You don't want to give people the wrong prescription or too many pills or stronger prescription than they're supposed to have because you can kill people and stuff like that. Um, but the job itself, really, you're just like counting pills and putting them into bottles. Um, Nothing too insane. But I don't know if I could have done it much longer because it's one of those things that like my patience for adults is like really, really limited, and the way people think they can like talk to you, um, and not even just like customers and stuff, like even like managers and like bosses or whatever. Like the stuff that they think they can get away with is just ridiculous to me sometimes. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I have students who get a little lip, you know, say things that hopefully they regret. And like I've had a number of students apologize to me after the fact. So, like I'm pretty calm, pretty collected as a person. I don't yell very often. Um, I've been told I kind of have an air about me that people just kind of listen when I talk. Um, and then I had, of course, I've had students say things, and some of them apologize, some of them don't. The big difference for me, though, like an adult is supposed to know, right? Like we all have this understanding of how we're supposed to treat each other. There's rules to society and stuff like that. At least for young people, like students, like young adults, they're still learning, right? So like there's that level of grace that I'm going to give to you simply because like maybe you don't know better, right? Like you're still learning life and trying to figure stuff out and all that. So I can and that just comes naturally, like a little bit extra, how to phrase it, patience. I have more patience for young people than I do adults. Um, and then that gets me back to becoming an administrator because now I'm having to deal with adults like all the time, right? And I have to work with my AP semi-frequently for my master's program, and just listening, like there's been a couple times, where I'm in her office and the parent calls and she answers, and watching her have to interact with some people, I don't know if it's for me. It's crazy sometimes. But I do think it's a worthwhile endeavor to learn the role above you. Because with that, like now I have a better appreciation, a better understanding of some of the stuff that my principal does, right? And for my students here, because I know that's the majority of people who are watching these right now. I mean, this is my 4th year, and I've had 3 principals already. Um, Burnout is real. Like that's a real issue. In fact, part of like I've had an entire class on how to prevent burnout and fatigue as an administrator. Um, things that they can do, because statistically, a principal, like a person who becomes a principal, they're out of education completely after 5 years. Because of fatigue and burnout and stress, and they just decide, you know what, like this isn't worth it anymore. Because we all start as teachers, and I think the story of all teachers is pretty similar. Like our why, we become teachers is pretty much the same, even if our stories are different, right? And principals are no longer in the classroom, but generally they get picked because um, they're exceptional at what they do. Um, and so they get pulled out of maybe what they would prefer to be doing, because the idea of a principal is, I'm so good at what I do, they become the teacher of teachers, basically. And they show us, these are the things I was doing in my classroom, and these are the reasons why my students were successful, and then we try to emulate the things that were happening. Most of us do anyways. And but then you have the ones who don't, the ones who don't really seem to matter um, what kind of training happens. They're kind of stuck in their ways and whatnot. And we have to do the same training over and over and over again because it doesn't seem to stick for some people. And that gets old. Ooh, looks like Bubby's awake. What's he doing? Okay, well, this video might get cut a little bit short, so that's okay. Ooh, sticky keys. No, I don't have sticky keys. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm really looking forward to being done with the program. Because like I said, this is my 4th year teaching. There's always been some big goal, something that I'm working towards. And as a general rule, I think that's a good policy in life, right? Like, you always want to be self-improving. You want to be continuously working to better yourself and all that. Keeps you from getting bored. Keeps you from getting into, like, a rut. Doing the same thing day in and day out. And you start to get bored and not content with life, right? And so, as a general rule, I try to keep pushing myself to improve whatever it is that I'm doing. And I'm a pretty self-motivated person, I think. And it's something that's done me well as a teacher. The idea that, like, I want my classes to be fun and engaging and students to be successful and all of that. And like, that's an internal drive, right? Like, it's not something that was like, I've been trained properly and because of that I am now doing X, Y, and Z. Not that I think you can't train people to do things correctly, but having that internal drive certainly helps. But anyway, I'm really looking forward to, and it won't happen until the start of next school year, but finally having some downtime. Because, like, my first year teaching, for a the first year of teaching in general, I think for anybody, is just pure chaos, right? Like, there's so much, the learning curve is so sharp. Just trying to figure stuff out, right? So that was kind of my first year. We also had COVID. And, like, my first year teaching was that spring break where we left and never came back, right? We went into virtual learning. Okay. I'm not sure how I want to treat the Safari Zone. Like, should you get one encounter? I guess that's going to be my question. And it won't matter for this run, right? Because it's too late. There are 4 zones in the Safari Zone, right? Or 4 areas. Should each area count as its own encounter? Or is it just the first Pokemon I run into and whatever you get, you get? I'll leave that as a running poll, and then by the time I get to my second run, I'll look back at the comments. What you guys think? Because I'm fine with either. It's just a matter of, because, like, intuitively, I would say you get, one encounter, right? And so that was my encounter. The other part of me is going, there's a lot of Pokemon you can only catch in the Safari Zone. And it would be cool to get to use some of them, right? Like, I would love to use Chansey and Kangaskhan and Scyther, but the odds of me running into those, right? Like, this would be my second encounter. The odds of me running into it are slim, and then they already have really, really hard catch rate. So if I increase my opportunities from 1 to 4, it might balance the playing field a little bit. But I also don't want it to seem like I'm cheesing, the run or whatever. So I'll let you guys decide on that, because I personally don't really care. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. 1 encounter versus 4. That's going to be the 2 options. Now I forget what we were talking about. I really do. I forget what we were talking about. I mean, that's okay. We're gonna finish up the Safari Zone here, and then we'll call it a video. Get the gold teeth, get surf. Let's see. Oh, then we gotta go back for Sabrina, and I'll actually be able to level up all my people to 43 for that. And oh, I don't have room. Oh, okay. Oh, bam. Alright, how many steps do I have left? Oh, 171? Gross. Oh, yeah, so getting some time to relax, right? It won't be until the start of next summer. First year was crazy because of COVID. Second year, we were still dealing with COVID, although I felt better about school. The big thing in general there, I went from teaching on-level U.S. history, world history, and AP world history. And then I spent all of the summer from my first year revamping my AP world history class because AP anything is a monster, right? Oop, my bad. Don't you? Okay, good. AP anything is a monster. And so I spent pretty much the entire summer revamping that class only to come back. They were like, oh, yeah, you're not teaching world history anymore. We're going to have you doing just U.S. history. And I appreciate the reason behind it. My students were really, really successful my first year. And even though there was no STAR test, all of our data was showing that they were going to do incredibly well on that test. And I had all of the SPED students. And so they were like, we want you teaching as many of the U.S. history students as possible. And so I can appreciate the reasoning. But I really, really enjoyed teaching world history. And I had a bunch of students who, they registered for world history my second year because they thought I was teaching it. And then they were kind of bummed about that. But they also didn't tell me until the week before school started. Now, part of that was because we were having a regime change. Mr. Yost was no longer going to be principal. He became an administrator up the ladder, and then Mr. White took over. So now I have AP US and just on-level US, which is fine. We're doing well there. But again, first year teaching any AP class, it was rough. And I feel bad for my students. They certainly were not prepared going into the AP test, and I apologize profusely. But I use it as a learning experience. And so last summer was spent revamping AP. And that's what we've been doing this year, right? And my AP class this year is pretty good, pretty solid. I think I have a number of students that are going to get themselves some college credit, which is nice. But it won't be until this coming year where, now all of my lessons are planned, right? I know exactly what I'm doing all the time. And then it's just, the week before or whatever, go through my lessons and tweak them. So I'm really looking forward to some downtime. Probably going to take the year, not really do any major major improvement plans, stuff like that. Just gonna kind of take a year to chill. But yeah, so that's just kind of where I'm at as far as my educational career, so to speak. So anyway, let me know about the Safari Zone stuff, and I hope that you have a good holiday. All right, bye.